Imagine standing in front of one of the most powerful men in the world, your heart racing, your voice trembling. What would you say? What if you were just a little girl, and your question could change everything? Today, we're diving deep into a moment that left everyone stunned. When a young girl named Hannah Wilson asked Donald Trump a question that resonated with millions. Will you also deport my mother back to Africa? This shocking inquiry not only caught Trump off guard, but also ignited a firestorm of emotions across the nation. Hannah Wilson was just an ordinary 8-year-old girl living in Chicago, Illinois. But her story is anything but ordinary. Hannah's mother, Rebecca, immigrated from Africa years ago in search of a better life for her family. Like many immigrants, she faced countless challenges, language barriers, cultural differences, and the constant fear of deportation. Can you imagine living with that fear every single day? How would you feel if your home was suddenly threatened? Hannah grew up hearing her mother's stories about their homeland, stories filled with love, hope, and resilience. But as the political climate shifted, those stories turned into nightmares. The conversations at home changed. They were no longer just about dreams, but about survival. One evening, as they sat together at the dinner table, Hannah mustered up the courage to ask her mother a question that had been weighing on her heart. With a quivering voice, Hannah asked, "Mom, will they send you back to Africa?" Rebecca looked into her daughter's eyes and felt her heart break. She reassured Hannah that they were safe for now, but couldn't promise what tomorrow might bring. The next day, Hannah decided to take action. She wanted answers, and she wanted them from the man who had the power to change their fate, Donald Trump. So she gathered her courage and went to a town hall meeting where he was speaking. As the crowd cheered and jeered, Hannah stood nervously in line, clutching a piece of paper with her question written on it. When it was finally her turn, she stepped up to the microphone. The room fell silent as she looked up at Trump and asked, "Will you also deport my mother back to Africa?" The air was thick with tension. What would he say? Would he dismiss her like so many others? Or would he acknowledge the fear that so many families felt? His response shocked everyone. Are you feeling inspired with this story? I believe you are. Please kindly help us subscribe to this YouTube channel. Your support means a lot to us. Trump paused for a moment, seemingly taken aback by the innocent yet powerful question from such a young girl. He replied, "We're going to make sure that America is safe first." While some applauded his answer, others felt the weight of Hannah's question linger in the air. In that moment, Hannah became a symbol of hope for many families facing similar fears. But what happened next was even more profound. News outlets picked up the story, and suddenly Hannah and Rebecca were thrust into the spotlight. They began receiving messages from all over the country, messages of support, love, and solidarity. But they also faced backlash from those who disagreed with their story. The media frenzy surrounding their lives brought both positive and negative attention. Some hailed Hannah as a hero for speaking out against injustice, while others criticized her for questioning the policies of a sitting president. Through it all, Hannah learned valuable lessons about courage and compassion. She became an advocate for immigrant rights and inspired many others to share their stories. As we reflect on this powerful moment, think about how we can all stand up for those who feel voiceless. The experience transformed not only Hannah but also Rebecca, who found her own voice in advocating for her community. Rebecca began attending local meetings and rallies, sharing their story with anyone who would listen. She spoke about the sacrifices she made to provide for her family and how important it was for families like hers to feel safe in their homes. Her advocacy work led her to connect with other immigrant families who were facing similar struggles. Together, they formed a support group that aimed to empower one another and share resources. As time passed, Hannah's question continued to resonate with many people across the country. It sparked discussions about immigration policy and human rights. Social media platforms buzzed with hashtags like #HannahsQuestion and #DefendMyFamily, creating a movement that highlighted the struggles faced by immigrant families in America. Hannah's school became an unexpected center of activism as well. Inspired by her bravery, her classmates organized events to raise awareness about immigration issues. They wrote letters to their representatives urging them to consider more humane immigration policies. Hannah found herself at the forefront of these initiatives, speaking at assemblies and sharing her story with peers who were eager to make a difference. The impact of Hannah's question reached beyond just her community. It caught the attention of lawmakers and activists nationwide. Many began advocating for changes in immigration policy that would protect families like Hannah's from being torn apart. They organized rallies and marches that brought together people from all walks of life, united by a common cause: compassion and understanding for immigrant families. Meanwhile, Rebecca's journey as an advocate continued to evolve. She was invited to speak at various events where she shared her story of resilience and hope. Her message was clear: every family deserves to feel safe and secure in their home, regardless of their background or immigration status. As she spoke about her experiences, she often referenced Hannah's courageous question as the catalyst for their activism. In time, Hannah's story became part of larger discussions around immigration reform at national forums and conferences. Advocacy groups used her narrative as an example of why compassionate policies are essential for families facing deportation fears. It became evident that one little girl's question could spark significant change in how people viewed immigration. As discussions around immigration continued to evolve in political circles, Hannah remained steadfast in her commitment to advocacy work. She participated in workshops aimed at educating young people about their rights and how they could get involved in activism. Her passion inspired others to join the movement, creating a ripple effect that extended far beyond what she could have imagined. In addition to advocating for immigrant rights, Hannah also focused on building bridges between communities. She organized events that brought together diverse groups to celebrate cultural differences and foster understanding among neighbors. These gatherings allowed families from various backgrounds to share their stories and experiences while promoting unity. Rebecca watched with pride as her daughter grew into a confident young leader who was unafraid to speak out against injustice. Their bond deepened through their shared commitment to making a difference in their community. Together, they attended rallies, spoke at schools, and engaged with local organizations dedicated to supporting immigrant families. Despite the challenges they faced along the way, criticism from detractors and moments of doubt, Hannah and Rebecca remained resolute in their mission. They understood that change takes time, but believed wholeheartedly in the power of their voices. As years passed since that fateful town hall meeting where Hannah posed her life-changing question to Trump, they reflected on how far they had come together. What started as an innocent inquiry transformed into a movement that inspired countless others to join the fight for justice. In their journey toward advocacy, they encountered individuals whose lives had been profoundly affected by immigration policies, families torn apart by deportations, and children left without parents due to unjust laws. Each story fueled their determination even further. They realized that every voice mattered, especially those of children like Hannah who dared to ask difficult questions. In time, legislative changes began taking shape within local government structures as advocates rallied around comprehensive immigration reform efforts inspired by stories like theirs. Lawmakers started recognizing the importance of humanizing immigration discussions rather than reducing them solely to statistics or political agendas. Through it all, the trials faced along this path, Hannah learned invaluable lessons about resilience, empathy, and standing up for what is right despite opposition or fear of backlash. She became more than just an advocate. She evolved into a beacon of hope for many who felt marginalized or unheard in society. As we conclude this remarkable journey together today, one sparked by one little girl's courageous question, it is essential not only to reflect upon its significance, but also consider how we can continue amplifying voices like hers moving forward. Every individual has within themselves potential greatness waiting patiently beneath layers formed by societal norms or expectations placed upon them throughout life experiences. Whether big or small, each moment matters when striving toward creating positive change within communities worldwide. So let us take inspiration from Hannah's bravery as we navigate through challenges faced daily while uplifting those around us. Together united, we can ensure everyone feels valued regardless if they come from different backgrounds. After all, compassion knows no borders. As Hannah and Rebecca continued their advocacy work, they recognized the importance of education in fostering understanding and empathy within their community. They began collaborating with local schools to create educational programs that highlighted the contributions of immigrants to society. These programs included workshops, storytelling sessions, and cultural exchange events where families could share their heritage and experiences. One memorable event was a multicultural fair organized at Hannah's school. Students were encouraged to bring dishes from their cultural backgrounds, share stories about their family's journeys, and participate in traditional dances or performances. The fair not only celebrated diversity but also provided a platform for students to learn from one another, breaking down stereotypes and misconceptions about immigrants. Hannah took an active role in planning the event. She reached out to classmates, encouraging them to invite their families to participate. As she walked through the bustling hallways adorned with colorful decorations representing various cultures, she felt a sense of pride knowing that they were creating a space for dialogue and connection. During the fair, Hannah stood at a booth where her mother shared stories about their family's journey from Africa to America. She watched as classmates listened intently, their eyes wide with curiosity. It was in these moments that Hannah realized the power of storytelling, not just as a means of sharing experiences but as a way to foster empathy and understanding. As the event concluded, students approached Hannah with newfound appreciation for her family's story. Some expressed gratitude for the opportunity to learn about different cultures, while others shared their own experiences as immigrants or children of immigrants. This exchange of stories created bonds among students that transcended differences, reinforcing Hannah's belief in the importance of community. However, despite the positive impact of their advocacy work, challenges persisted. In the wake of heightened political rhetoric surrounding immigration, fear and uncertainty loomed over many families. Hannah and Rebecca received messages from families who felt isolated and fearful of deportation. These stories weighed heavily on their hearts, reminding them that their work was far from over. Determined to create a safe haven for families facing these fears, Rebecca initiated support groups where families could come together to share their concerns and experiences. These gatherings provided a space for individuals to discuss legal resources, emotional support, and coping strategies. Hannah often joined her mother, listening to stories that echoed her own fears but also showcased resilience and strength. Through these gatherings, they formed connections with local organizations advocating for immigrant rights. Together, they organized workshops led by legal experts who could provide guidance on navigating complex immigration processes. Families learned about their rights and how to advocate for themselves in an increasingly challenging environment. Hannah's involvement in these support groups deepened her understanding of the struggles faced by immigrant families. She began to see beyond her own experience and recognized the importance of solidarity in the fight for justice. Inspired by the resilience of those around her, she decided to take her advocacy efforts a step further. With her mother's encouragement, Hannah initiated a letter-writing campaign aimed at local lawmakers. She rallied her classmates and community members to write letters expressing their support for humane immigration policies. The letters poured in, each one telling a unique story that painted a vivid picture of the immigrant experience. Hannah's campaign garnered attention from local media outlets, amplifying their message beyond the confines of their community. As the letters reached lawmakers' offices, they began to recognize the human impact behind immigration policies. Hannah's voice became a catalyst for change as more people joined the movement advocating for compassionate legislation. Amidst all this activism, Hannah continued to grow as a leader. She attended youth leadership conferences where she met other young advocates passionate about social justice issues. These experiences exposed her to various perspectives on activism and inspired her to think critically about how she could make a difference on a larger scale. One particular conference focused on youth empowerment and social change. Hannah participated in workshops that taught her how to effectively communicate her message and mobilize others toward action. She learned about grassroots organizing, public speaking, and coalition building, skills she would later apply in her own community efforts. After returning home from the conference, Hannah felt invigorated and ready to take on new challenges. She approached her school's administration with an idea for starting a student-led club focused on social justice issues. The club would serve as a platform for students to discuss current events, engage in community service projects, and advocate for marginalized voices. With enthusiastic support from her peers and teachers, the Social Justice Club was born. Hannah took on a leadership role within the club, organizing meetings where students could share ideas and collaborate on initiatives that aligned with their values. They hosted discussions on topics like immigration reform, racial justice, and environmental sustainability, encouraging students to think critically about their roles in creating positive change. As the club gained traction, it became a hub for activism within the school community. Members organized fundraisers for local charities supporting immigrant families and collaborated with other student organizations to amplify their impact. They even planned a community forum where parents and students could come together to discuss pressing issues affecting their neighborhood. Through these efforts, Hannah learned invaluable lessons about teamwork and collaboration. She witnessed firsthand how collective action could lead to meaningful change, how voices united in purpose could create ripples that extended far beyond their immediate surroundings. But as with any movement for social change, obstacles arose along the way. Some individuals opposed their initiatives, believing that discussions around immigration should be silenced or dismissed altogether. Hannah faced criticism online and in person. However, she remained steadfast in her commitment to advocating for justice. In moments of doubt or frustration, she turned to her mother for guidance. Rebecca reminded Hannah of the strength found in vulnerability, the importance of listening to differing perspectives while standing firm in one's beliefs. Together, they reflected on how far they had come since that pivotal moment at the town hall meeting when Hannah first asked her question. Their journey was not just about policy change. It was about building bridges between communities and fostering understanding among individuals from diverse backgrounds. They understood that compassion was not merely an ideal but a necessity in an increasingly divided world. As time went on, Hannah's efforts began yielding tangible results. Local lawmakers started engaging with constituents more actively regarding immigration issues, hosting town halls where families could voice concerns directly rather than feeling sidelined by political discourse. Advocacy groups reported increased awareness around immigrant rights within local communities thanks largely due to grassroots campaigns led by young leaders like Hannah. In reflecting upon these successes, big or small, Hannah recognized how interconnected each individual's story was within this larger narrative of advocacy work unfolding across America today. Every conversation sparked new ideas. Every letter written ignited hope. Every rally attended strengthened resolve. Ultimately, what mattered most wasn't just achieving legislative victories, but creating lasting relationships built upon trust, empathy, understanding between all people regardless if they came from different backgrounds. As we approach the conclusion of this incredible journey together today, one sparked by one little girl's courageous question, it is essential not only to reflect upon its significance, but also consider how we can continue amplifying voices like hers moving forward. Every individual has within themselves potential greatness waiting patiently beneath layers formed by societal norms or expectations placed upon them throughout life experiences, whether big or small. Each moment matters when striving toward creating positive change within communities worldwide. If this story really inspires you, please kindly hit the subscription button now. We appreciate and cherish your support. So let us take inspiration from Hannah's bravery as we navigate through challenges faced daily while uplifting those around us. Together united, we can ensure everyone feels valued regardless if they come from different backgrounds. After a